Dead Island will be on PS3, Xbox 360 and PC, and will be released in the beginning of September. So the story background is basically that everyone, or most people who are there for, well, it's a paradise island. There's a good reason to be there. To be honest, I would like to be on an island like that, except for the zombies. Sam B, for example, is a one-hit rap star, so he's there because he has there a gig. Shang Mei, our roguelike character, is the receptionist of the hotel, and other characters are just having a holiday there. And after one night of heavy partying, you wake up with a terrible headache and a zombie apocalypse. So the story is more about finding out what the hell happened, and your main goal is get off the island. It's an open world, so you can do whatever you like. You wander off and look for maybe there's a bunker. Bunkers can be safe, so you can explore them, but it often happens that you run into people that scream for help, like a guy trapped in a car surrounded by zombies. You can decide to help him by smashing the zombies down and talk to him, and then he might tell you, yeah, thanks a lot, follow me to this area or help me with that, and so you have a quest. Make sure that we also have the main quests, the classic main quests, where you basically always get one quest after the other, quest chain basically, that brings you forward in the story. So there are also areas that will only be accessible if you advance in the story to a certain point, but that's relatively clear by the quest givers. So it's like one of the main characters at the beginning is the lifeguard who saved your life after you woke up, and so he will basically tell you what to do to progress. They all want to get out of the island, so he's a good helper in the beginning.
Sure.
Everything in the game is basically there to make sure that you have this feel for survival, being desperate all the time, and this is supported by the fact that your weapons will break. If you only have a paddle, which is definitely not made for fighting, but it's better than fighting barehanded, you will have 10-20 slashes and then it breaks somehow. So paddle is one of those items you will find scattered around the island that helps you to fight, but is not considered a real weapon. It's more an improvised thing. So you encounter a zombie while getting up the stairs, and you grab the plank and fight the zombie, but it's not a weapon you will take care of. More important becomes when you find the more typical weapons, like a baseball bat, a machete. There's a vast amount of options you have on the island, but most of the time it feels a little bit like you would be happy if you were in a tool shed. You often improvise. A hammer is nice, so you take those weapons and you can make sure that their condition is good. So you have different upgrade levels about their condition. So for example, first you have a rusty hammer, and so you polish it and you improve it, and so at the end you have one hell of a nice shiny hammer, which helps you because it will endure longer, it will do a little bit more damage. And then if you find the right blueprint, the right modification description, and some regular items, you might add a special tweak, special effect to the weapon. So for example, there's impact mod, which is pretty impressive because it's a nice sledgehammer with an impact mod causes basically a huge impact damage. As soon as you hit, the opponents will fly away because it causes a small explosion when hitting. And we have a lot of those modifications to make sure the player can change their favorite weapon in a way they prefer. So if you prefer to poison your enemies, search for it. I'm sure you will find something. If you prefer to burn them, these additional things, you will very quickly find out what the different effects do and how they will help you. Depending on which character you play, you might prefer this or that modification. Yeah, got it. The skill trees are basically our way to tell the player, to make the player understandable how he transforms from a regular guy to a zombie killer. And we have 3 different trees, which are based on the rage tree. That is basically this last moment action you use before you die, or you use when you get angry. That is, could be called smart bomb, because you will be able to reduce a lot of zombies in this mode, but it's only very short. And of course it's dependent which character you play. The tank, for example, in this mode is definitely the creature, the guy who can stand in front and smash everything away, while the assassin still has this dash in, attack, do a lot of damage, get back, feel to it when you activate it. The second tree is the combat tree. That's basically where you improve your regular slashers, you get additional moves, get all the bonuses you would like, And the third tree is the survival tree. That's the stuff that will help you with open boxes, finding loot, all that stuff. But also, it often helps in combat. For example, the lockpick skill, which is found there for many characters, is it's not a combat skill itself, but the chests you will open with those lockpick skills will have often very good weapons inside. So it also supports your combat by giving you better weapons. We have a special system that basically checks what level you are, how strong you are, and then adjusts zombies to a certain degree. But most of the time it's more about the kind of zombies that appear. As soon as, for example, a ram zombie appears, it's a huge bulky guy in a straitjacket. You have to play completely different because he's just a major threat. So it's a mix of both. So we have different zombies and we have the way to adjust them to the player. We have boss characters, but don't want to extend too much on that because you will encounter definitely fights where you think about getting everything together.
Sure.
It's really like, okay, barehanded or with good weapons, even then it's difficult. So how could I manage to defeat this guy? You can actually use a car in the city, it's no problem. If you find one that works, use it. It's up to you. But mostly you are on foot because, for example, you experience the city and as you might have seen, everything is broken down, a lot of car wrecks lying around. It's very hard to maneuver in a city where everything is, there's no free streets and no one will fix them. So in the city it's very hard to use a car. In the resort, for example, I often see players driving around in cars because it's just fun to drive through a bunch of zombies. It's not about like what we force the player to do if he plays the main storyline, so where he has to go to. But there's so much. The size is it's gigantic. It's really huge. The first part of our communication was always about the resort, which is a beach, some bunkers, a hotel, and the hills behind the main holiday area. So even that area brings you a lot of playing hours, so wouldn't be a problem to spend only 20 hours just exploring this area and finding really all the little hidden things we put in there. Next area would be the city you've seen, and even that map is intense. It's just, again, enormous. You will really need a lot of time to find everything and you can enjoy it because there's so much details in there which you can explore and find new stuff in there. So pretty sure that you will love the size of those things, and that there's more. I mean, we have also a huge jungle. Pretty proud of that because it really works out well. First we were very concerned about adding a jungle because it's trees. So what will you do? It's trees. So a huge map with trees, that's not cool. But we made it work, so pretty happy about that, and there's even more I won't spoil. So
got it.
The constant terror you're facing is the big difference in the game. First, the threat you feel all the time, and your decisions feel much more important. It's not a scripted world, so if you really try to screw up, you can screw up. It's not a problem. In our game, if you smash a head, you will be covered in blood, and the feel how you do this is extremely intense. And this terror of my weapon will break, I cannot simply mash the button. If you do, your stamina goes empty. It's over. So it's a very tactical approach, and you have to be very strategic about your decisions, like, oh, there's an explosive tank, a gas tank or something. So you could move it around, use it for those zombies, or maybe you will grab it and use it later. So it's about 20 to 30 hours to play through the game. I don't think that you will be able to manage all the side quests if you only play this long. We had to make sure that the open world is interesting enough, so you will find a lot of stuff out of the main path, and you're always welcome to scavenge around and out of the main path, because you might find some craft plants that help you improve your weapons, or some background information like newspaper snippets that seem like useless information, but as you know that there's a zombie apocalypse, in that context it gives you some hints what could have happened. It was our goal to make sure that the players are not ripped out of the game by now starting the multiplayer campaign and stuff like that. We really wanted to make sure you play the story, a friend of yours has time to play, he joins in. You continue together the progress of the campaign and the story and exploring the world, and as soon as one has enough, he drops out, and you still can continue your game if you like. So, and even for him, the progress that was made is saved for him. So the basic idea was not to spoil the progress of the other player and make sure that they have the same experience but playing together. Dead Island will be on PS3, Xbox 360 and PC, and will be released in the beginning of September.